And welcome back, everyone, to the Pokemon Team Creation Series. Today's Pokemon Team Creation Series request comes to us from Shadows82, who asked the age-old question, what is Dizzy's Pokemon team? Dizzy is the secondary love interest, technically becomes primary, but then is secondary love interest to Rico in Starship Troopers. Now, given the fact that Starship Troopers came out in the 90s, and I look at looking at my algorithm, or actually looking at the statistics of the age group of which watches my videos and who probably like Pokemon content, you may be asking yourself, what is Starship Troopers? Or who is this character? What the hell are you talking about? In fact, let me double check real quick here as I'm talking right now the statistics on my channel to understand exactly what percentage of you guys are within the age range to have watched this movie. Now, don't get me wrong. Younger people can watch movies that are well older than them. Hell, I grew up watching movies that were way before my era. But that being said, trust me, I've met kids these days. I've seen a lot of kids these days that don't, or people. Let's just say people these days who are a lot younger who don't have an idea of like older things or older media in general. So with that being said, according to this, roughly speaking, the bulk of my audience is between the ages of 18, 24, and 39. So with that being said, and the year 2025, year of Lord 2025, so the 25 to 34 range, which is just under what I've fallen, that you guys probably know Starship Troopers. The ones younger than that, I'm not saying you don't know it. I'm saying the likelihood of you knowing it might be a little bit more difficult. So anyway, without giving too much away, if you haven't watched the movie before, Starship Troopers, it takes place in a fictionalized post futuristic world. Well, futuristic world that is, we have a society. It is a commentary on fascism and dictatorships, all that. And we are at war with an alien species of bugs. And so you become a trooper, a Starship Trooper, infantry, or pilot, whatever, to combat the insect invasion, the bugs. Dizzy was the not main love interest to the main character, Rico. He actually had a girlfriend played by Denise Richie. And she was the friend who actually pined for him. She was in love with him, and he didn't immediately feel the same way. Things happen. I'm not going to spoil too much. All I will say is, if you are under the age of 18, just get your parents' approval to watch. If you're under the age of 18, but over the age of 14, you'll be fine. If your parents probably know about this movie. It is R-rated for a reason. Between the gore and the TNA, it is R-rated for a reason. So there you go. But we're not here to talk about that, even though Starship Troopers is an amazing piece of film, propaganda, literature, all that. It is textbook 90s in feel. And I think we're getting a remake too, or a reboot, one of those. So, what is your Pokemon team? Now, that became kind of tricky, and then it actually became pretty simple when I thought about it. So, there's not a lot to say about Dizzy. She is a loyal friend. She's also a tomboy, despite the fact that between her and Denise Richie, I'm not going to lie, I go with her every day. Like, she's less pretty girl. I mean, don't get me wrong, Denise Richards. I keep saying Denise Richie. It's Denise Richards. Denise Richards is extremely attractive, even today. But honestly, from a personality standpoint and attractiveness, I go Dizzy. Dizzy, best girl. But she's definitely the tomboy of the group, of the main characters in terms of she plays a full contact sport. She's actually she's an infantry soldier. She's a fighter. She does guy stuff, whereas Denise Richards' character, who I do not remember her name, does not. So I knew I needed some physical Pokemon on the team. Half her team is fighting types. It's just spoilers right now. And I go Lapuni, Mega Lapuni to be fair on that. I think this actually makes a lot of sense. It's a friendship evolution, and she is, even though she is like, a lovelorn woman, she wants the man she wants. She's also just a loyal friend. She is a really good friend, like outright. Like she's never trying to steal him from his girlfriend. She actually respects that. That's what actually makes her that's what makes her a legitimately good person. In a fascist world. But a good person in this context is like, yeah, she's in love with this guy, but she's not going to disrespect that relationship. She just wishes maybe he'd open his eyes to the fact that maybe she's not that good of a match for him, and maybe that they could be a better match. She wishes that, but she's not going to disrespect the relationship, which again, kind of makes her best girl. But yeah, Mega Lopunny does make a lot of sense in that regard. It is a Pokemon that evolves through friendship, i.e. love, relationships, bonds, and it got decent stats already, but when you Mega Evolve it, it's got very good stats. So I thought Mega Lopunny made a lot of sense. Then, because of the fact that she plays, I can't remember what the sport is in the future, but she plays a full contact sport with the guys on a gender equal team. Gender inclusive team. I knew Passimian had to be there because this is more or less kind of what they're doing. They're playing some sort of game with a ball, full contact. They're wearing headgear, body gear, all that. So Passimian made a lot of sense on that front. She's also an infantry soldier. So I knew I needed something to represent that. And this is one I think you can interchange with something else, but Phalanx are literally soldiers in a line. Now, they're little Spartans, fair enough, but there is no gun Pokemon out there. At least there's no Pokemon that is legitimately supposed to be a gun. There's Pokemon that have cannons or blasters on them, but this is a legitimate little group of soldiers. So that was the first half of the team, and that was easy. And then I quickly realized there's really not much else to Dizzy. She's a good person. She's got feelings for this guy. She plays a contact sport. She's a soldier. And then I'm like, okay, how am I supposed to max out this team? Can I even do a full team for Dizzy? And then I literally had a eureka moment. Like that light bulb over my head. I'm like, idiot. In a world where whatever the Starship equivalent world of Pokemon would be, her team would be designed, like the other half of her team would be, like these would be the mons she had before going into the infantry. Maybe swap out the Phalanx for something else. But the idea of the infantry would be to fight the bugs. So, what would you do? You would assign them the mon on the team that are, or at least encourage them to catch mon on the team that are strong against bug types. And for diversity's sake, they'd say you need to catch a rock, a flying, and a fire type for a battle against the bug horde, bug type horde. So that makes complete sense. So I had to think, okay, what fire, what flying, and what rock type I think works best here. Right out of the gate, again, for a little bit of sultriness here, and because it is an R-rated film, with a lot of TNA in there, I went Salazzle. Look, Dizzy got it going on. Dizzy got it going on. Even the actress. What's Dizzy's the actress? It's something Myers Breyer, I think it is. Dizzy, hold on. Dizzy Flores is the character's name, played by Dina Meyer. Dina Meyer is still at age, what now? How old is Dina Meyer? Hold on. Dina Meyer is at age 56, is still a bombshell. like, dear God almighty, she's gorgeous. Go look up a picture of Dina Meyer now and just be like, damn, she aged well. Yeah, so sex appeal, sultry, and a fire type. So I felt that worked here. But what about a flying type? Well, with the flying type, I decided to go with a classic bird we don't see that often on the teams. I've done it once or twice before. I went with Swellow. Why? Swellow is because I don't think she would have necessarily the strongest mon on the team. She'd go for the things she could find. She would go for the mon she could find, the strongest ones she could find. That doesn't inherently mean you're getting a pseudo or you're getting a legendary or anything like that. But Swellow's a little underrated, especially with that guts ability and the ability to learn facade. And I think that actually using the word guts really pun not intended, but it really suits Dizzy pretty well because she is someone who's got a lot of guts, who's got a lot of courage and heart and all that. So I actually like Swallow for that very much. Last but not least, though, is our rock type. Now, this is one, again, that I think can be interchangeable. And if we ever do Denise Richards' character, this one might fit a little better just because of the weaponry they have on the ship. I went with Alolan Golem. Now, why did I go with Alolan Golem? Well, because it literally has a built-in, I guess you could call it, it's not really a railgun, although it's kind of a railgun. It's designed like it's a lodestone more than anything else, but it fires stones out of its back. So it's got somewhat of a built-in weapon in there. Add on the fact it's an electric type as well, and you get a mon that can fire off long-range attacks like our assault rifle, like a pulse rifle or whatever. So I actually felt this was a pretty decent team. Now, unfortunately, at least in terms of her character, which is what I look at. Now, unfortunately, because we have 2 pure fighting types and 1 fighting normal type, which pretty much means that it has all the weaknesses of a fighting type plus fighting added on there, this team isn't necessarily balanced. In terms of weaknesses, it's got only 2 weaknesses to fighting with Golem and Lapuni's Mega Form. Well, Lapuni in general. 4 times weakness to Psychic because of all the 3 fighting types plus Salazzle's poison typing. Times 3 weakness to Flying. Times 3 weakness to Fairy. Times 2 weakness to Ground with the Fire and the Rock type. 2 times weakness to Water with both those guys again. And a 2 times weakness to Rock, courtesy of the Fire and the Flying type. So, However, it does make up for that a little bit by having a times 3 strength against Rock, times 3 strength against Dark, a times 5 strength against Ice, times 4 strength against Steel, times 3 strength against normal types, 2 strengths against grass types, and 3 strengths against bug types. So while it technically does have more weakness, actually it does not have, now I'm looking at this properly, it doesn't actually have, it's got an equal amount of weaknesses in terms of equal amount of type weaknesses to strengths. It just barely edges out having a worse amount of weaknesses to strengths due to the fact that 5 of these monsters are strong against ice and 4 of them are strong against steel. So it's got a little bit better and more going for it in its strength department than its weakness department. But now the big one, the question we always ask, how well does this team do? Can this team become champion in any region? Well, I'll say this. This team really won't struggle at all in Kanto until you get to Koga. The problem with Koga is you have no strong answer to Koga. You've got fighting poison resists fighting. So that's off the table. You don't have any firm weaknesses or strengths against poison because poison really only has psychic as its main weakness. Which I've actually never understood that. I've never actually understood why Psychic is strong against Poison. Never quite gotten that myself. But, yeah, so you don't necessarily have a clear weakness. I believe Corrosion can poison types too, if I'm not mistaken. So you do have that working on you for Salazzle. And it's not like you're going to just be like completely curved stuff, but Koga would be the first big challenge. Sabrina would be your next. Now, luckily, I had to look it up. Passimian can learn Beat Up, which is a dark move, and that is comes in clutch here. Because Passimian's also very fast. It doesn't outspeed Alakazam, though, so that's a problem. I do not think it's impossible to beat Sabrina. I don't think but I think it's going to be tough. Then you can go all the way to Giovanni, and even Giovanni really isn't that bad. The rock ground types on his team, i.e. just Rhydon/Rhyhorn, will go down quick, but then you got to deal with all the actual ground types, which your Alolan Golem and your Salazzle are going down pretty quick. Then you got to deal with all the fighting types there, and 2 of them are fighting poison. The only things that's you kind of got going for you is immunity with Swallow. Giovanni may be where you stop. Again, because you got a Mega, though, it's not impossible, but very difficult. Otherwise, though, the only time you're really going to struggle after that is the last 3 members of the Elite Four. This team only has one dark type move to it, really. I mean, I think maybe Alolan Golem can learn Bite or Crunch, I think. Salaza might be able to learn a dark type move, maybe, but otherwise, you're going to be up against I'm stuttering here. You're going to be up against a wall because poison again, but also ghost now. So you're not really in a good position against Agatha, nor are you in a good position against Lance either. It's it's just type tankiness. Then you add in Blue, whose Pidgeot alone is going to give half your team trouble. Even if you bring out Golems, like switch out the Pidgeot or switch out your Lopunny for that, he's going to bring out either a grass type to deal with that Golem or a water type that may outspeed it. Or Rhydon, because he has Rhydon as well. So that's a problem. I don't think you can become a champion in Kanto. I don't think it's likely. In Johto, you're already having a big problem because even with Mega Evolution, you're only at like 13 to 15 levels. You're going up against a flying type gym. Now the upside though of this is you don't have any fighting moves. You're just using normal moves. But the problem is because Lopunny is a friendship evolution, you can have it immediately. Like you just max out its friendship, evolve it once, and you're good. But again, therein lies a bit of a problem, is that what moves would Lopunny actually learn naturally? Well there, Jim, let me tell you. Lopunny, in its infinite wisdom here, can learn. Now, it does actually have like good TMs, but we never really use TMs. Luckily, Lopunny does, when it goes Mega, does have Scrappy, which I believe allows it to fight Ghost types. So it does have that clear advantage going for it. Now, okay, in terms of what Lopunny can learn naturally, let's see here now. What it learns naturally before level 15. Pound. Literally, that's it. The only physical move it has is Pound. Oh no. Now it has Baby Doll Eyes, it has Mirror Coat and Magic Coat. But I mean, what are you expecting out of this? Now by 16 it'll learn Quick Attack, but that's 16. So yeah, even with a Mega Lopunny, you might not beat Faulkner. Even if you do, you then got to go through Bugsy, who you're not going to be doing that much better against, because now Passimian does it. Even if you got Passimian with a beat up on there, it's a bug type gym. It's going to resist both the fighting and the bug. So that is a battle of freaking attrition right there. Especially when you're dealing with the Metapod and Kakuna going through Harden and all that. And then got to deal with Scyther. There's a chance you don't make it out of that. Then you deal with Meltank. Honestly, this is the first time you'll have no problem whatsoever. Mega Evolve your Lopunny, double kick, you're good. But even then, you'll still have these guys. Fortunately, Mega Lopunny has Scrappy, so Morty's not a problem. Honestly, you won't have another problem even against Claire that much, just because you'll have a very diversified team at this point. And fighting's either strong nor weak against Dragon. Until you get to Will. And Will, as being a psychic trainer, is a problem. Not to mention, he has Xatu on the team. Which obviously, as you know, are flying psychic and will resist the fighting moves. You might have some luck there by bringing Alolan Golem in, but he also has Slowbro on the team. It's not a good position to be in. Let's say that. You might not make it out of that one either. Koga's also going to be super tanky due to the fact he has bug and poison types on the team. And that Crobat outspeeds pretty much everything on the team, save for Mega Lopunny itself. Not to mention Muck's a tank. Fortress can explode at any point in time. Bruno might be able to handle without a fair amount of fuss, because you'll have Swallow, you'll have the fighting types deal with the rock types. Just not a guarantee. You actually could handle Karen, no problem. But then Lance, again, is 3 of all the Dragonites, a Charizard, a Gyarados, and an Aerodactyl. Yes, you have a rock type to deal with a flying type, but Golem's not that fast. And Gyarados could frankly take it down before it's ever able to actually dish out some punishment. it could definitely take down the Gyarados in one shot, but it's not taking down either the Aerodactyl or the Charizard. A Charizard it might, if it's able to get like a Rock Slide off or something. But beyond that, I mean, what are you going to do against the Dragonites? The Dragonites are going to completely like overrun this team, I think. Long and short of it, this is all assuming you get past Bugsy, which is debatable at minimum. So, no, I don't think you become champion of Johto either. I'm going to tell you right now, you stop at Liza and Tate and Hoenn. All the other gyms, frankly, not that big of a deal. Liza and Tate, though, are Rock and Psychic. So the Psychic resists the Fighting type. The Psychic also gives you a strength against the 4 out of the 6 mod here. And then the Rock type gives you advantage over, because they do have Rock Slide, over the Swallow. So the only thing you got in the team that's at least neutral is the Golem. And even then, that doesn't have an advantage against anything. Lopunny's Mega doesn't really matter that much if you can't deal any real damage. So, yeah, no, you stop at Liza and Tate. And even if you didn't, you'd eventually stop at Drake. Drake's team is far too much for this team. And then in Sinnoh, you won't really struggle that much at all, really, until you get to the Elite Four, I'm going to be honest. There is not that much struggle with the gym leaders here. Now, Aaron could be a problem if he because of his bug types. Heracross could take down the Alolan Golem. So, and if that Alolan Golem goes, you're pretty much just relying on either Salazzle or Swallow. But you have 2 type advantage mons against the bug type. Drapion, it might be difficult, certainly, but it's not impossible. I think you can get past Aaron. Bertha's a little bit more tricky. The ground type is very tanky, durable, and you have 2 mon on the team that are weak to it, and you have no real strength against ground on this team. Not an impossibility, to be sure, but definitely not easy. Flint is actually relatively doable. Lucian, though, might be the one you stop at. He's a psychic trainer, which means, again, 2/3 of your team stand no chance. And unless you decide not to Mega Evolve the Lopunny, which, to be fair, I mean, what are you going to do with a Lopunny otherwise then? Yeah, you might stop at Lucian, which would suck because Cynthia's right there. But unfortunately, then you got Cynthia, even if you could get past there. And yeah, Cynthia is not. Now, to be fair, with the Scrappy ability, you can hit the Spiritomb because Ghost is supposed to be immune to fighting. But when you take that away, it's neutral to fighting. So you could take down the Spiritomb with Mega Lopunny. You could. But then you got to deal with Lucario. That's not something. I mean, yeah, Lucario's steel typing, yes, but if it gets one hit off on that Lopunny, you're screwed. And that's not even to bring up Roserade, Gastrodon, Milotic, or Garchomp. If Garchomp comes out and Mega Lopunny's gone, you are probably SOL at that point. So sorry about that. But no, I'm not sure you get past Lucian, to be honest. In Unova, you immediately don't get past Roxy in Black and White too. The Poison is just too defensive of a typing for this to get through with your 2 fighting types. And then they're going to be poisoning you. You can get you definitely get farther in Black and White, because even though Bug always resists fighting also resists Bug. So it'd be tough, but I think you actually could get past Berg. Alisa, though, might be where you stop because those Emolgas with Aerial Ace could literally take down this entire, everything you have. At least the Passimian and the Phalanx. Even hypothetically, if you could get it all the way to the Elite Four, you would struggle immensely with both the Psychic and the Ghost type Elite Four members whose names I'm forgetting in the Unova games. I really like the Unova games, but the only one I can remember is Marshall, the fighting type one. And this is then assuming that you can even beat Alder, which right out the gate, he starts with an Accelgor, which means Mega Lopunny is off the table. You need to go either to Salazzle, or you need to go into Swallow, or you need to go into Alolan Golem. The problem is, Accelgor outspeeds both of those. So if you start with Mega Lopunny, which is what you lead with, switch it out, whatever's coming in next takes the hit, and then it's taking the next hit. And that's assuming then you put down the Accelgor whenever you bring out that turn. So assuming it's not dead, and the Accelgor dies, Then you're going to probably have to deal with, if it's Salazzle, he's almost certainly going to bring out either Drudagon or Buffalon next. That's what he'd probably bring out next. And those things are beefy, particularly the Buffalon. So then you're probably going to have to go back into one of your fighting types. Buffalon can take a hit, so that's not a guarantee. And you're probably going to lose something in the process. Megalopoly maybe comes out at that point. Then you get either a Selgor or Drudagon. Not Selgor, sorry. Excavalier and a Drudagon. Durability on Excavalier and attack strength is going to be nuts. You assuming you still have Salazzle, you may go back into Salazzle, but if Salazzle's gone, you're going to be struggling hard against that thing for a while. By the time Volcarona comes out, half your team easy is gone. You probably have lost Salazzle. You have almost certainly lost one of your core fighting types, either Phalanx or Passimian. And I would guarantee you Swellow's probably gone at this point. That's assuming that the other three aren't gone. Even the best case scenario for the other three, and honestly, I'm not going to lie, Alolan Golem's probably gone at this point too, because it's either Salazzle or Alolan Golem you go to. And Alolan Golem could take the hit better than Salazzle when it comes to Bug Buzz, so you probably are actually down to Salazzle, Megalopoly, who's probably weakened at this point, and Passimian, maybe, if you're lucky. And then Volcarona comes out, and if one Quiver Dance gets off in that thing, which none of these have an ability to put that thing down for good, because fire resists fire, and Bug actually, I believe, resists poison, I think. Or it's the other way around. You don't have an answer, which means that Quiver Dance goes off and starts going to town on you. You could not beat Alder. No. Then Galar, I'm going to tell you right now, you might Kalos. You might stop at Viola. You might. Because even with a Megalopoly, you don't have an attack. Because that's a level 12 Vivian. Which means you can't even get the next attack up. The only thing you have is Pound. And I don't know. I don't think it's difficult to say the least. It is difficult. And then if you can, but now that being said, if you get past Viola, well, Grant's no problem. You got fighting against Rock. But then I think you hit the trainer who's the actual wall, Karina. And she has Minfu, she has Machoke, which are going to be problematic, especially for your Megalopoly, but not a game ender. And then she has Hawlucha, which outspeeds nearly everything. And because it's a flying fighting type, resists the fighting type. And Flying Press, if she uses Flying Press on Megalopoly, it's done in one go. Because it's flying and fight, which, by the way, I'm wondering when we're going to get that as a gimmick. Moves that hit for the same amount of two types at the same time. Because we only ever got that with Flying Press. But, yeah, literally stab, flying, fighting, hitting a normal fighting type, which is weak to fighting and flying. So it's getting hit for quad effective damage on that. And then it's just good night, Irene. So no, I don't think you can be the champion of Kalos. To sum it up quick, you cannot be the champion of Galar, but not because you can't beat the elite the trainers. The gym leaders, actually, you should be able to handle without too much difficulty. Kobu or Kafu, whatever, I can't remember which is which. It might be a little difficult, as Sandra Scorch's bug typing would make fighting a little difficult, but I don't think it's impossible. The other one shouldn't be that difficult. Really, it's once you get to Leon that you struggle. You can go Megalopoly absolutely and take down the Dragapult, or sorry, the Aegislash. But the Dragapult is going to outspeed even Megalopoly, hit with a massive amount of damage. Now, granted, Megalopoly's got decent stats, and it might be able to do some major damage to the Dragapult, but I think that Lopunny's going down first. And then it's a matter of trying to find the right Mon to take down that thing. Like, Passimian's got beat up, okay, but it's not strong enough to take it down, unless, it's basically, Dragapult's getting a big hit, and it might even paralyze or burn it. And if it burns it, you're in trouble. Let's just assume for a second the Passimian can take it down. You then got the Haxorus. which now nothing on this team has an answer for. Haxorus gets one Dragon Dance off, you're done. Like, you're just done. Earthquaking, because it has Earthquake. I do have the site up at the moment. Let me double check Leon's team in terms of how, because Leon has a legitimately good team. Like a legitimately good team. Let's see here. Gems. Oh, nope. I want Champion Cup. And his team varies depending on what starter you chose, so it would vary a little bit, but it's usually the same typing no matter what. Okay, where are you, Leon? There you go. So Leon's team, again, that Shadow Ball, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Dragon Breath on the Dragapult. Okay, it's okay. I do need to take it back. The Haxorus does not have Dragon Dance. It has Poison Jab, Iron Tail, Outrage, and Earthquake, which is still busted of a move set to have on it. So, yeah, like because it's still got 140 some on attack. So you're going to struggle hard against that thing. Because with Lopunny gone and Passimian probably gone as well, you don't have good odds at this point. Even if that goes down, you're either dealing with a Seismitoad, a Mr. Rhyme, or a Rhyperior next. You might be able to handle some of those, but not all of them. Like, it's just, Leon, you long-term, you can't beat Leon. But this is one of the few teams that can get past his Dragapult without too much difficulty. And then finally, with Paldea, I'll be honest, I think you might just stop at Katie. Because, again, even with Mega Evolution, she's a Bug trainer. You don't have a good answer for Bug. And all you got at that point is Quick Attack and Pound. So, no, I don't think you could beat even Katie with this team. Because that Low Kicks, that Nimble has Double Kick on it. So, if that Nimble survives one hit, that Mega Lopunny is about to go see Jesus. You're going to go see Arceus. Either way, though, that's my thoughts. It's just not balanced enough of a team to really do a lot. But I'll leave it to you. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know when to do a review of it at some point. Hit that like bell if you want to be notified, and I'll see you next. Or hit that bell if you want to be notified, and I'll see you next time.